Yo, what's going on, guys? My name's Julio from Rivera Strength Fitness. I'm a personal trainer. Fix my hat real quick. Jesus. Um, Personal trainer. Been training for a couple of years now, and been doing a lot of high intensity training, and definitely have been seeing a lot of resurgence of it. It's kind of gaining popularity. I've been following a lot of um, trainers, advocates for high intensity training, a lot of well-known figures who have done high-intensity training in the past, as late as the 80s and 90s. And I've been following their content a lot, and I've been seeing a lot of newer content from, um, I guess, if you will, the newer generation. And there's still always a little bit of confusion with high-intensity training, especially from what I've seen, and from what I've seen people relate that to what is high-intensity training. And uh, just to put it simply, for the common man like myself, who is just a trainer who implements the high intensity training principles with their clients and see much better success with it. For the common man, high intensity training simply is high intensity of effort in your training. So, what does that mean? In your workout, when you are working out, you want to put 100% effort in the working set, because there's many times people confuse it as just a one set only type of a workout, which essentially it is, um, relative to what your working set is. Um, but that's not to say that you don't do any other sets beforehand. I mean, you can. You can if you wanted to, and there's plenty of people and bodybuilders who do warm up sets before they do their actual working set to failure. So high intensity training includes high intensity of effort, training to failure in a controlled and strict form. So the last part, people always get confused as well, because then they start thinking, well, is high intensity training super slow training? Which that kind of is its own category, but it is related to high intensity training because of the principle that's involved in super slow training. Super slow training, or super slow exercise, one of their principles is controlling the movement with a 10-second cadence, both on the eccentric and the concentric. So when you're curling the weight up and when you're lowering the weight down, 10 seconds on the way up, 10 seconds on the way down. The entire set should last no more than about a minute and a half. That's super slow, but it is related to high intensity training because there is a high intensity of effort involved, meaning that in that particular set, the goal is to fatigue, to stimulate the growth mechanism, and to train all the way to failure in a slow movement. And when Mike Menser was doing it, and Dorian Yates was doing it after Mike Menser, there wasn't a super slow technique with Mike Menser. And the uh, later on, if anyone of you seen the high intensity video that he's done with Marcus Reinhardt, I hope I pronounced his name correctly. He was doing about a 4 second cadence on the way up and on the way down. So if he's doing chest press, pull downs, everything is done with 4 seconds on the way down on the lat pull down with a brief pause, and then 4 seconds on the way up on the way up. And so that was a technique to try to control the movement. So essentially, the idea is to control the movement because you don't want momentum to come to be a factor in your training. Zero momentum. So when you hear high intensity training, those are the main principles. Again, it's high intensity of effort, the amount of effort and force you're producing in your set, in your given set, training to failure, training to your absolute last rep where you physically cannot perform another rep, and slow and control movement, whether that be 10 seconds on the way up or 10 seconds on the way down, 4 seconds on the way up, 4 seconds on the way down. This can be played around with, but it does have that connotation that people think that it's just super slow training, and it's not. Um, and then now we have, if you will, like sub categories in high intensity training, because you have the trainers and the people that advocate for super slow, and that's the true high intensity training. Then you have people who have followed Mike Mentzer and Dorian Yates and Drew Bay and other known bodybuilders who have been practicing and applying high intensity training. They do a different type of a cadence. So I just wanted to make that clear for the average person, and see who this reaches out to. But I've been seeing it a lot, and you'll be seeing more content from me applying these principles to my clients, to myself, and see how this actually works to build muscle for the natural lifters.